Today, we have a super awesome topic. We're talking about a blue city in a red state. Greg, take it away.
Yeah, hey, how you doing? Great to be here. I love doing this. I love trying to share with people the things that we've discovered about different real estate markets around America, what makes them tick, what the data says about them, and we're experts at that. But then also looking at, what are the qualitative things about a city that make it a draw? The beauty of this asset class, Avi, and you know this well, better than me, is that it's about people, meaning everybody says
That's
that,
right.
right? Everything's about people. What we mean is where are they moving? Where are they living? Why are they going there? Are they going to keep going there? Are they going to stay? You can get so much from looking at long-term behavioral patterns of people and how they relate to where they want to live or have to live, how in demand that all is, because if you've got population growth, you've got demand for housing, right? Last time I checked, people, a tent is okay for the weekend, but you want to live under a roof. And if you have this crazy idea of having kids and a dog, it's going to be a house. And so we're very heavy in the residential investment market because it is so directly connected with population, right? It's
That's
where
right.
the most stable part of the population, the families, go because they stay, they set down roots. And when you can place investments in the path of that, you can get an outsized return. You can win bigger than you would if you just kind of played it unstrategic and straight. And so this idea of the I didn't tell you the city yet, I don't think, and that's good because I want to paint the picture first of this idea of red states and how red states, this is apolitical, okay? Red states draw population. They tend to have a lower cost of living, they tend to have taxes, they tend to be in the South, and they pull people from the big population centers in the Northeast, the upper Midwest, and pretty much every place else. And it really is the job draw and the quality of life, cost of living draw that pulls people in. So what's interesting though is that they don't always have the reputation for being the coolest, the hippest, the most culturally relevant cities, right? So you want culturally relevant, you go to New York, you go to San Francisco, but you want low taxes, you go to Austin, or you go to Charlotte, or you go to places in Florida. And so the dichotomy of if it's cool, it's going to be expensive is blown to smithereens when you get a city like Austin that is a red state, Texas, but a blue city.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you get the best of both in that situation. And so let me first do what I always like to do in the beginning, which is tell you what the data shows about the market. We've put a lot of money and energy into mastering real estate data, and we put it all up on our website for free, ownamerica.com. And I'm looking at property for sale in Austin right now on my screen. I'll do my best to kind of share what the charts and data tells me. And, we get paid a lot of money by a lot of big investment funds to do this for them. So the reason why you guys have me on here is I'm doing this for massive investment funds. And now I'm really passionate about doing it for your listeners, the entrepreneurial aspirational class out there.
No, for sure. I mean, we all know data is absolutely the bedrock of any sound investment decision. So that's huge that you have access to that. So take it away. I need to
give me. Cool.
I'm going to totally nerd out on data.
Well, it's all, and you know what? It's also data. It's charts and graphs. I can't look at that. I need to see the charts and the visualization and draw conclusions. And so that first qualitative thing of the idea that it is in Texas and it's the state government of Texas, right? The job diversity in any state government capital, any state capital, the job diversity always makes me nervous if there are too many government jobs. Okay, like for example, in New York, where I used to live, I know the state very well, and the city of Albany is really dependent, as any state capital would be, on government jobs. But it's also a government that tends to be bigger. Okay, the government and the politics in New York favor spending a lot of money, growing a lot of government agencies. In Texas, they don't do that so much. So you've got a state that is driven by efficiency being run in a city in Austin that government isn't even the biggest job category in Austin. That's what I'm getting at. Normally you get a state capital, the number one job category, and it's 30% of all the jobs in the whole city are government jobs. Here, the number one category is trade, transportation, and utilities, which means essentially business. Okay, the bedrock, commerce.
Yeah.
That's what's number one. Number two is government, but it's only 15% of the market's job base. And then it goes to leisure and hospitality. So when you have commerce and business, then you have government, which is the business of Austin. But then right behind that, you have leisure and hospitality. So you've got a place that on the one hand is state government, bedrock industry. It isn't even the biggest industry. And right behind it is travel and tourism, which is where that cool factor comes in. People go down there for the foodie experience. They go down there for the party experience, for the music experience. You know, they call themselves weird in Austin. And I guess weird is a draw. You know, I mean, listen, you have a lot of listeners, and I think we could say that about you sometimes.
Hey, man, you know what? I think that's a very fair statement to say.
Weird is cool, all right? So anyway, what that means, the way that bears out in terms of actual performance of the market, our core analytic is about how how the marketplace has performed over the last 20 years. That 20-year snapshot is huge because it gives you the chance to zoom out and view the market through the lens of a 20-year cycle, which includes the crazy real estate boom of the 2000s, and it includes the scary real estate crash of the late 2000s, and then the recovery. And so if you can witness the way the market performed during that stretch, you get to see the way it performed under stress. And what's awesome about Austin is that just like the rest of the state of Texas, it really didn't play in the real estate boom. It has been steadily rising since the beginning of, you know, the mid to late 1990s, all the way through 2012. It almost slept through the housing crisis. Now, why was that? The state of Texas, the legislature, and also the Association of Realtors, it's uncanny how the Association of Realtors played a huge role in this. They saw what was happening around the country and they put limits on home equity lending, which means the thing that drove people in California off a cliff and in Florida off a cliff, which is borrowing 100% of the value of their home at the peak and then having the value come down and then being underwater, didn't happen in Texas because they literally passed legislation.
Yeah.
All right. So they stunted the party. Okay. And the real estate boom and the real estate crash, the best way to think of those as New Year's Eve, big party, and if you party too hard, big hangover. The party in Austin, they didn't get a hangover, okay, because they never got up to the 100% financing in any kind of scale across the entire state. So you've got an element of resilience that market showed during a storm, and then the prices have taken off, okay? So Austin has enjoyed, maybe better than any market in the country, a really phenomenal rise in home prices over the last 5 years, 6 years. And some people say, you know, well, is that going to last? It doesn't have to last, okay? It can level off, but it's going in the same trajectory as it's been going for the last 20 years. All right, so the point of it is that if you bought when I was recommending Austin 5 years ago, you won big. I'm saying accumulate the highest quality portfolio of real estate that you can. And if you can find a place that has all of this going for it, great performance over the last 20 years, and it's one of the coolest cities in the country, and it's a government center in an efficient state, you've got a triple play of upward lift on your investments.
First of all, totally agreed with that. I mean, even for remote investors, those out of New York, those out of California that have capital to invest, look at Austin for exactly the reasons that Greg has mentioned. And also remember, it's an accumulation game. The more that you accumulate, the more wealth that you have. You are building for the long term. And a little bit of short-term pain does definitely lead to long-term gain.